Welcome to another episode of EduExcel. This time I'm going to talk about school education. And the topic for today is how to have cool schools. The recent news in the media and newspaper has caused a lot of concern amongst parents and teachers. So I thought let me talk about this. The news headlines were tensions erupt in Udaipur after student stabbed in school, vehicles torched. A class 10 student was stabbed by another student inside a government run school in Rajasthan's Udaipur. The incident triggered large scale protests in the city. Another incident Ahmedabad school stabbing case, class 10 student killed by junior, massive protest erupts. Protesters accuse the school of negligence and have refused to accept the student's body until justice is served. Some parents also staged a road blockade in support, demanding immediate action. Class 7 student stabbed to death in Delhi after fight with schoolmates. Another incident Class 12 student in India's Madhya Pradesh shoots school principal dead. Police call him remorseless. Haryana school principal stabbed to death by two students over disciplinary action, say police. A major time of uh, a principal's work or the coordinator's work in school is firefighting. From my personal experience, I have faced this too. And then a recent news in the social media and the newspaper caught my attention. UAE schools face 1 million dirham fine for bullying. I have worked in Dubai and I know how the Dubai government is very keen on seeing that its schools are safe and they have imposed a heavy penalty. Sanctions range from formal warnings to fines starting at dirhams 10,000 and rising to as much as dirham 1 million. In severe cases, schools may be suspended or closed, while individuals can face up to 1 year in prison if found guilty of serious harm to students. Fairness emphasized that responsibility extends beyond institutions. Penalties apply to principals, teachers, or staff if they engaged in corporal punishment, food deprivation, denial of basic facilities, or behavior amounting to humiliation or abuse. Doctor Samir Al Khatib, a psychologist, added that the policies are designed not just to deter abuse but to promote long term well being. Bullying or abuse in schools can leave deep scars on a child's confidence and development. He said strict accountability encourages schools to adopt preventive measures such as ongoing teachers' training and robust reporting mechanisms. In a landmark judgment, the Delhi Supreme Court Parents Forum for Meaningful Education versus Union of India, the court condemned corporal punishment in schools, declaring that it violates the Constitution and children's rights to education in an environment free from fear and dignity. It emphasized children's rights to freedom from physical or mental violence and cruelty, including corporal punishment, based on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. The ruling mandated schools to ensure zero corporal punishment and uphold a safe and dignified learning environment, end corporal punishment. Subsequent High Court judgments, example Kerala and Karnataka, have shown some contradictory interpretations justifying mild disciplinary measures by teachers while cautioning against frivolous criminal prosecution. However, these have been criticized for ignoring child rights perspectives on violence and corporal punishment. The Central Information Commission held that both schools and teachers can be held liable for corporal punishment and mandated reporting, inquiry mechanisms, and compensation to victims. It called for policy reforms against corporal punishment, urging schools to adhere to child protection laws and set up inquiry panels. The courts have affirmed schools' authority to suspend students for serious misconduct, including criminal acts, to maintain a safe educational atmosphere. Strict disciplinary actions are supported where leniency fails to prevent escalation of indiscipline and violence. The overarching principle from Supreme Court rulings is the need to balance school discipline with respect for child's rights, prohibiting cruel punishments, and ensuring a disciplined but nurturing and safe school environment. These verdicts shape the legal framework requiring schools to adopt nonviolent disciplinary measures, uphold child's dignity, and implement anti bullying policies and provide complaint and redressal mechanisms in conformity with national and international child rights standards. The CBSE School Quality Assessment and Assurance SQAA, that is SCORE framework, is a comprehensive self-assessment and quality improvement system aligned with NEP 2020 principles designed to enable schools to review their performance across multiple domains including discipline-related governance. CBSE SCORE and Discipline Committee. Under the SCORE framework, schools are expected to form quality assurance committees, which ideally include members overseeing various functioning areas, including discipline and school governance. The discipline committee's role in the SCORE framework aligns with ensuring adherence to behavioral standards, students' welfare, and regulatory compliance as part of the broader school quality assurance. Schools undertake a self assessment process that includes reflection on disciplinary policies, incident management, and enforcement practices, which are integral for SCORE evaluations. The SCORE framework encourages continuous improvement and documentation of institutional strengths and weaknesses, including areas like student discipline management as part of the holistic governance domain. The process involves forming cross functional teams comprising school leadership, teachers, counselors, parents, and administrative staff to assess and improve discipline related standards, among other core functions. The committee working within the SCORE framework collaborates in planning, action, and collation stages, supporting evidence based improvements related to discipline and other operational areas. In essence, CBSE score process integrates discipline committee functions into holistic quality assessment model, expecting schools to systematically self-assess and improve their discipline management as part of overall school quality assurance and governance compliance. In CBSE schools, the discipline committee is typically structured as part of a broader set of mandatory committees designed to ensure student safety, discipline, and overall well being. While CBSE does not prescribe a rigid uniform structure for the discipline committee alone, its functioning and composition generally follow these norms. The committee usually includes the principal, that is the chairperson, several teachers, and sometimes counselors or coordinators who specialize in student welfare. It may also include parent representatives or student representatives to create a balanced and inclusive framework. The discipline committee functions under the guidance and policies laid down by the School Management Committee SMC, which governs school affairs. The committee responsibilities include monitoring students' behavior, investigating disciplinary issues, conducting hearings, recommending penalties or counseling, promoting a positive school culture, and ensuring implementation of CBSE's Code of Conduct and anti bullying policies. A school discipline committee functions as a governing body responsible for maintaining and enforcing discipline within the school community to create a safe, orderly, and conducive learning environment. Its core roles and responsibilities typically include enforcing rules and code of conduct, ensuring that students adhere to school rules related to behavior, attendance, dress code, academic integrity, and campus safety. Addressing behavioral issues, investigating reports of misconduct, bullying, harassment, aggression, or any acts disrupting the school environment. Conflict resolutions, mediating conflicts between students and facilitating fair resolutions to disputes. Counseling and guidance, providing support and counseling to students exhibiting behavioral problems to help them understand and change their behavior positively. Formulating and reviewing policies, discipline. Developing, updating, and enforcing discipline policies and codes of conduct in line with educational objectives and legal guidelines. Monitoring and promoting good behavior, fostering a positive school culture that encourages respectful and responsible behavior among students and staff. Involving stakeholders, communicating with parents or guardians about students' behaviors and collaborating with them for corrective measures. Documentation and record keeping, maintaining detailed records of disciplinary cases, action taken, and follow up to ensure accountability, safety vigilance, ensuring student safety on campus, including anti ragging measures and preventing physical confrontations. The committee is often composed of school leadership, that is, principals, coordinators, teachers, and sometimes students' representatives. It meets regularly to review disciplinary matters, decides on appropriate consequences for violations, and work towards overall development of students' character and self discipline. Its functioning is guided by fairness, transparency, adherence to institutional policies, and sometimes specific legal mandates, such as the Supreme Court of India's verdicts on discipline and safety in schools. When such cases of violence erupts, teachers generally become very afraid. So, in Indian schools, teachers are legally protected against aggression and unsafe working conditions through various laws, guidelines, and regulations aimed at ensuring their safety, rights, and welfare. Key laws and frameworks include Right to Education RTE 2009 Act. It bans corporal punishment and mental harassment of students by teachers, thus promoting nonviolent discipline and protecting teachers from aggressive behaviors in response to such bans. It requires schools to maintain proper teacher student ratios to prevent overcrowding and uh, aggression arising due to stress. The Indian Penal Code IPC provides protection against general criminal laws against physical assault and acts of violence against teachers. Aggressors can be prosecuted under various IPC sections for assault or harassment. Number three, National Commission for Protection of Child's Right (NCPCR) guidelines. It enforces safe and secure school environments, requires schools to implement child protection policies, which include teacher safety in cases of aggression or violence. Number four, labor and employment laws. Teachers in government and private schools have employment rights, ensuring safe workplaces, regulated working hours, and protection under unfair treatment or exploitation. Number five, school safety and security guidelines by the Ministry of Education. It mandates schools to implement safety measures like security personnel, grievance redressal mechanisms, and protocols for handling aggressions or harassments involving teachers. Number six, specific state level Teachers Protection Acts. Some states have enacted laws focused on protection of teachers from violence and aggression in schools, imposing penalties on offenders and mandatory preventive measures. Number seven, prohibition of private tuition regulation restricts teachers from offering private tuitions to their students to prevent conflicts and ensure teachers devote proper attention to their school duties, indirectly reducing stress or aggression related incidents. Number eight, prevention of sexual harassment POSH Act applies to school environments to protect female teachers against sexual harassment in schools, mandating complaint committee and strict actions. Together, these laws form a legal framework in India ensuring teachers work in safe, respectful environments where aggression is minimized and addressed through clear policies and legal recourse. In Indian schools, teachers are protected against aggression and unsafe working conditions by a combination of laws and guidelines aimed at ensuring their safety and rights. Key protection include the Right to Education Act, RT 2009, and other similar acts which we have already discussed. There are training programs designed specifically for teachers to handle student aggression effectively. These programs aim to equip educators with practical strategies and skills to manage challenging behaviors, reduce classroom conflicts, and create a positive learning environment. Some teacher some key features of such training include diffusing anger, anxiety, and aggression programs, focus on teaching proactive and reactive strategies to manage student anger and aggression. Provide practical tools for understanding underlying causes like trauma or anxiety. Help improve teacher student relationships and classroom management techniques. The Great Teacher Program, research based program, aims at middle school teachers to prevent and reduce student aggression. Practical classroom strategies, developing individualized behavior intervention plans for persistently aggressive students, using positive reinforcement and building trust through empathy and communication, techniques to validate student emotions while maintaining clear behavioral boundaries, crisis intervention training. Some programs focus on crisis de escalation and intervention techniques for violent incidents, training school staff to safely manage and diffuse potentially dangerous situations. Overall, these training programs help teachers mm, better understand, prevent, and respond to student aggression, reducing stress and improving educational outcomes. Experts point to rising aggression among youth driven by exposure to violence in media and social networks, unresolved emotional distress, academic pressure, family disruptions, and lack of proper outlets for emotional expression. Schools have also found alarming items like lighters, cigarettes, sharp objects, and even contraceptives during surprise back checks, indicating wider behavioral issues. The incidents have sparked debates about schools' security measures, need for psychological counseling, and greater parental and teacher involvement to address the underlying mental health and social triggers behind such violence. Experts point to rising aggression among youth driven by exposure to violence in media and social networks. Here is a graph which shows you the emotional effects on teens when using social media. Let's understand aggressions and bullying. All bullying is aggressive behavior, but not all aggression is bullying. To distinguish aggression from bullying in school reports, the key criteria are repetition. Bullying involves repeated aggressive behavior over time, whereas aggression may be one off or occasional incident without a pattern. Intentional harm. Bullying is characterized by deliberate intent to cause harm or distress. Aggression can sometimes be reactive or impulsive without clear intent. Power imbalance. Bullying involves a real or perceived imbalance of power between the perpetrator and the victims, such as difference in physical strength, social status, or number of peers involved. Aggression does not necessarily involve this imbalance. Type of behavior. Bullying behaviors include physical attacks, verbal abuse, social exclusion, spreading rumors, and cyberbullying. Aggression refers broadly to hostile behaviors like hitting or yelling, but does not have to be targeted repetitively at a vulnerable individual. Impact on victim. Bullying causes ongoing harm or emotional distress to the victim, affecting their well being and school experience. Aggression may result in harm, but does not always lead to a sustained impact. In summary, all bullying is aggressive behavior, but not all aggression is bullying. For reporting incidents that are isolated without power imbalance or repetition are aggressive acts, while bullying is a pattern of intentional harm exploiting an imbalance of power. Bullying can lead to anxiety, depression, loneliness, panic disorders, school avoidance, and self harm. Violence and bullying in Indian schools is a growing concern with rising incidents of physical fights, verbal abuse, and psychological harassment among students. Recent cases highlight extreme aggression, including stabbing incidents, often triggered by minor disputes, academic pressure, and emotional distress. Experts attribute increasing youth violence to factors like exposure to online and offline violence, substance abuse, broken family environments, and lack of mental health support in schools. Bullying affects a large proportion of students, with surveys indicating that around 42% of Indian school students have experienced bullying. It is a more prevalent among middle and high school students who face physical, verbal, relational, and increasingly cyberbullying incidents. Boys tend to experience more physical confrontations while girls endure more social isolation and rumor spreading. The Indian states reporting the highest prevalence of school bullying are Uttar Pradesh with 21% of reported cases, Maharashtra with 12%, West Bengal at 7%, Madhya Pradesh 6%, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, and Karnataka each at 5%, Gujarat 4%, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, and Telangana each at 3%, Kerala, Jharkhand, Assam, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, and Haryana each at 2%. These figures come from a comprehensive report on bullying in India, which places the country as having the second highest number of bullying cases worldwide. With over 110,000 serious cases documented, bullying in India is particularly concentrated in states with larger population and socio-economic diversity, and it manifests in various forms including physical, verbal, and social harassment. Studies also highlight that urban areas in states like Haryana and Gujarat report uh, particularly high bullying rates among school students, often correlated with academic and social pressures. Kerala shows slightly lower bullying rates but has high mental health challenges linked to bullying. Let's understand the difference between anger and aggression. Anger is a feeling, anger is an acceptable emotion. Angry feelings can release endorphins, which are powerful chemicals within the body and help people to relieve themselves from feeling sad or hurt. But aggression is a behavior. It is not an acceptable behavior. That is just because you feel angry doesn't give you permission to treat others poorly. What is the normal anger cycle? So, how do I assess? Assessment is how am I? How serious is this? Then comes planning. What can I do with my anger? What do I want? How can I get it? Get a feedback. How often I'm reliable for my actions, how I react to my actions, and withdrawal is now I can let go. So, generally, these are the four stages of anger. Anger management, teaching kids some strategies. We learn from each other's practices. So one of the school had this put up on the wall. So you see how interesting it is. The first strategy is walk away and cool down. Take steady breaths. Count to 20. Stretch or do yoga. Use I statements. Take a break. Exercise. Squeeze. Push against the wall. Scribble on paper. Very, very simple, doable strategies. When escalating suspected bullying to parents or authorities, the most helpful documentation elements to include are detailed incident reports, number two, witness statements, impact evidence, communication records, supporting evidence, reference to school policies, follow up actions, confidentiality, and respect. Documentation of aggression in school students in India involves systematic observation and rating of aggressive behaviors by teachers using standardized scale like the direct indirect aggression scale and behavior checklists. Teachers observe and record behaviors such as hitting, yelling, shoving, pushing, and teasing over time, classifying the intensity and frequency of aggression types direct, verbal, indirect. This process helps to identify students who consistently show aggressive behavior with noted gender and age differences in types of aggression exhibited. To format a timeline that clearly shows repetition and power imbalance, consider these design and content elements. Chronological order: arrange incidents consistently by date and time, either horizontally or vertically, to show the timeline of events clearly. Frequency visualization: use repeated symbols, icons, or color coded markers for recurring bullying or aggression acts to visually highlight repetition and patterns. Power imbalance indicators: add annotations or icons representing power dynamics such as size difference icons groups or individual symbols or social status indicators to mark events where a clear power imbalance was observed. Color coding: use different colors to represent types of incidents. Example: red for repeated bullying, orange for isolated aggression, and blue for bystander involvement to make quick visual distinction. Severity or impact: incorporate a size or intensity gradient such as bigger shapes or bolder borders to represent the severity of incidents or impact on the victim. Brief descriptions next to each event include concise narrative text describing the behavior, individuals involved, and the context to supplement the visuals. Grouping or layers: group related events close together or use layers to show escalation over time, reflecting how repeated incidents build upon each other. Interactive elements, if digital, enable filters or click to expand features to allow deeper exploration of specific incidents, perpetrators, or victims. For example, a vertical timeline with date markers down one side alongside arranged icons representing the number of incidents per day, colored by incident types, uh, and with small symbols depicting power imbalance, such as larger figure overpowering a smaller one, can make the repetition and power dynamics visually intuitive. Clear spacing and consistent layout ensures readability, avoiding overcrowding while highlighting critical patterns in bullying or aggression in incidents in school reports. To clearly show repetition and power imbalance in a timeline, use the following formatting strategies. Arrange events in chronological order, horizontal or vertical orientation to clearly show when incidents occurred. Addressing violence in the modern school environment requires a collective and proactive approach centered on safety, respect, and support. By establishing clear policies, training staff to recognize and de escalate conflicts, integrating social emotional learning, and leveraging technology for early intervention, schools can create safer, inclusive spaces where every student feels valued and protected. Ultimately, cultivating a culture of empathy, communication, and accountability is essential to prevent violence and ensure that schools remain nurturing environments for learning and growth. Restorative justice invites us to move beyond punishment and towards healing, bringing together those harmed and those responsible in a spirit of dialogue, accountability, and mutual understanding. It emphasizes repairing relationships, addressing the needs of all parties, and fostering community support to rebuild trust. By focusing on healing rather than retribution, restorative justice helps create safer, more compassionate environments where individuals take responsibility and work together to prevent harm from recurring. Thanks for listening to this long episode. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with another episode on education, which will help the teachers and the students to work together for the sake of education. Thank you.